Hi, I'm Educator Barnes, and welcome back to another book review. Before I get into the book, I want to give you a brief background of how I came to read this book. I have identical twin sons. They completed fifth grade, which is the last grade of elementary school in their school, and sixth grade starts them on the path to middle school. During the summer, we decided, my husband and I, to sign them up for the Imani Book Club. If you're a local watching this, in Indianapolis, there is the Center for Leadership Development, which really targets minority students to help them build character, good study habits, good academic skills, and also helps them to become college and career ready. So I thought it was a good opportunity, especially being an educator, to help avoid the quote unquote summer slide and get my kids into a book. But I actually decided to read the book along with my sons. So they had the book, they were reading their assignments each week. I also purchased the audio book so we could not only just read the book, but also listen to the audio. So my sons got a couple of touch points with this book. And the other reason I went ahead and read the book is because I recognize the author. So let's get into it. The book I'm going to talk about today is Before the Ever After by Jacqueline Woodson. If you look at the cover, you can see there's an adult and there's a kid on this adult's shoulders. This story focuses on these two characters. The guy is Zachariah 44 Johnson and his son ZJ, which is short for Zachariah Jr. 44, Zachariah Johnson is an NFL superstar football player, and he has to stop playing football. And over the course of the novel, you learn to discover that all these repeated blows to his head has caused him to have some issues. And the story is told from the viewpoint of ZJ and how when a person in your family is going through an illness or a situation or is not well, how that really impacts you, especially if you are a child. Now, if you know anything about sports, you probably have heard the term CTE, which stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy. And this is something my sons didn't know anything about. So reading this novel gave them an insight into what that was, gave them an insight into how this was even looked at the time period when this was becoming a thing, and doctors were trying to figure out, like, why are these football players seeming to have this same condition? But the other cool thing I want to point out about this book is that this book is written in verse. So if you're a teacher and you're wanting to use this book, not only do you have the opportunity to look at text-to-text connections, make inferences, analyze, you can also look at the poetic structure. So every chapter is written in verse, and you can analyze each chapter individually if you wish. So both from an educator standpoint and from a parent standpoint, and just from a person who loves to read, I really, really enjoyed this book. This is my second Jacqueline Woodson book. The first Jacqueline Woodson book I read was The House You Passing Away. I also recommend that book. The next Jacqueline Woodson book I intend to read is Brown Girl Dreaming. I had a lot of former students who have read that book and raved about it and said it was absolutely awesome. The other point I want to point out about this book, this is an award-winning book. It has won numerous awards. New York Times, a notable book, Coretta Scott King Author Award, NAACP Image Award, and that's just to name a few awards. So if you're looking for a book to read, and I'm going to show you the side of it, it's super, super short. So the audiobook was a little over 2 hours. So you could really read this in one day. But my sons and I, we took some time because they had an essay to do with this book for their Imani Book Club. So we took the time to talk about it. My mother-in-law got to listen to part of the book because we read the book and listened to the audio at the same time when we were traveling to our family vacation. My husband got to listen to the book, and all the people, even like my husband and my mother-in-law who didn't get to hear the whole book, they really liked the parts of the book that they heard, even though they got to listen to a part in the middle. So if you're looking for a short read on a topic that many times I don't really know any other books that's really geared towards children that focus on CTE. So if you're looking for a book that's short, written in verse by an awesome author that's award-winning, that if you as a teacher can look at it from different ways, and for kids, if you have kids who just really struggle to get through a novel and you want to give them something a little bit shorter to get through, I highly suggest Before the Ever After. If you read it, leave some notes in the comments and let me know what you think.